Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about the fact that, yes, our government is run by satanic, sacrificial, bloodthirsty human beings. And I've been sitting on this video that I'm going to share with you right now for a while. And today was the perfect day because Candace came out and said, listen, they sacrificed Charlie. And I have long believed that they sacrifice human beings for success, but I always thought that I sounded crazy when I would say that, and people would be like, "Oh my gosh, how could you say that?" But what I do know is from having friends who live in other countries, we in America think that we are exempt from satanic child sacrifice worship. We think that we're exempt from it. But this young lady is going to explain perfectly how this system works, and she straight up says, like, Nigerians are not surprised by what's in the files because we knew this was happening. And actually, it's very common. People talk about it openly. So I want you guys to take a listen to this video, and then we're going to listen to Candace share about why she thinks that Charlie was sacrificed. And the similarities are striking, stunning. It's quite scary how similar they are. This really happens. Like, we have to wrap our heads around the fact that people are evil. Let's take a listen to this lady's TikTok.
Africans are not shocked by the Epstein files because we already know that these things happen. Most African people know that it is very expensive to be wealthy and it's very unhealthy to be poor. We also understand that there's so many levels of wealth. There's wealth with influence, there's wealth with power, and then there's the ultimate wealth where you have influence and power. Your wealth and influence is determined by how much sacrifices and how much stuff you're willing to get yourself into.
Did you hear that? Your wealth and your power is determined by how many sacrifices you're willing to make, including the sacrifice of human beings. This is not new. We're not new to this. We're true to this. We understand this. I think we were just shocked because we Americans parade around with the cloak of Christianity and pretend to be these God-loving people, particularly our government. But behind the scenes, they are acting just like this. Let's continue.
And blood sacrifices are real. We pretty much know that. There are so many different type of sacrifices. Some of them we don't even know. But we all know that the greatest sacrifice of them all is sacrificing the person that you love the most, which is typically your children, your mom, your dad, your only brother, your only sister, people like that.
The greatest sacrifice is the one that you love. So Charlie would qualify as a sacrifice for anybody. Now he could be a sacrifice for, obviously Erica or Trump or whatever, TPUSA, so that they could be taken to the next level. Is this sounding familiar yet? Right? I'll take you to the next level. The only thing you have to do is make a sacrifice. I'm promising you that no matter what happens, TPUSA will still make money because you have made this sacrifice. It was a blood sacrifice.
Get wealthy people that are very greedy, and those are the ones that choose to sacrifice anybody and everybody, and they literally don't care. And then you get people that just want to be wealthy enough to enjoy life and have some influence in the society that they live in. Unlike here in the US where they have to come to you and they ask you to join them, in Africa you can go look for them and join them. All they require is some balls, some liver. If you have balls and liver, you're good to go. So there's so many different type of contracts. Some contracts are so insane, like we're going to give you all the wealth and influence, but you're not allowed to share your money with anybody. You have to be stingy. Other contracts are like, we're going to make you so wealthy and influential for 2 years and then you're going to die.
How many people have we seen blow up? And then, like, and I mean, wealth wise, music industry wise, actress wise, and then die because these people think that that it doesn't work that way. So a lot of people will get into these contracts thinking that they're fake, thinking that they can run from these contracts. Cardi B, she said as much, right, online that, oh, I've made a deal with the devil. Yeah, she's telling you the truth and she can't get out of it or they will kill her. So she is forced to make this music, humiliate herself on stage, not sell any tickets for the price of fame. And if you think that our government has not done this, you are sorely mistaken. We have 100%. The sacrifices of the children in war are their blood sacrifices. Mark my words.
But if you do not want to die, you're going to have to sacrifice 5 family members. Other contracts are like, okay, since you didn't want to sacrifice your mom and your favorite child, you're going to have to sacrifice a 3-month-old baby that is born at 2 p.m. every single month.
Listen, do you guys know who Jennifer Hudson is? Jennifer Hudson's whole family, their house burned down. She had a bunch of people die, and she blew up. I'm not saying she, sacrificed them, but these things have happened, right? And yes, you need to sacrifice somebody every, the third month, every baby, right? This is why Epstein Island can continue to exist, because it's a place for these rituals to take place so that they stay wealthy. You can call me crazy. You can say that I'm a conspiracy theorist, but this is the reality of our world.
And that's when those weird NGO and philanthropy work starts, because they need to open a NGO focusing on teenage moms and stuff like that in order for them to get their sacrifices fresh off the pot.
So I wanted to share that with you guys because I think sometimes we think that what people are saying is crazy. I'm about to share with you with what Candace said, because she did say that she believes that Charlie was sacrificed, and this is exactly what she means. This is exactly what she means. She means that this kind of behavior. I'm going to let you guys actually listen to that all the way through, so you, because I interrupted you the first time. But people think that she's crazy when she's saying this. No, they actually have parameters like this for babies, for family members, for money. This is how people stay wealthy, because they need blackmail on you. So let me let that play, and then
Africans are not shocked by the Epstein files because we already know that these things happen. Most African people know that it is very expensive to be wealthy and it's very unhealthy to be poor. We also understand that there's so many levels of wealth. There's wealth with influence, there's wealth with power, and then there's the ultimate wealth where you have influence and power. Your wealth and influence is determined by how much sacrifices and how much stuff you're willing to get yourself into. And blood sacrifices are real. We pretty much know that. There's so many different type of sacrifices. Some of them we don't even know. But we all know that the greatest sacrifice of them all is sacrificing the person that you love the most, which is typically your children, your mom, your dad, your only brother, your only sister, people like that. You get wealthy people that are very greedy, and those are the ones that choose to sacrifice anybody and everybody, and they literally don't care. And then you get people that just want to be wealthy enough to enjoy life and have some influence in the society that they live in. Unlike here in the US where they have to come to you and they ask you to join them, in Africa you can go look for them and join them. All they require is some balls, some liver. If you have balls and liver, you're good to go. So there's so many different type of contracts. Some contracts are so insane, like we're going to give you all the wealth and influence, but you're not allowed to share your money with anybody. You have to be stingy. Other contracts are like, we're going to make you so wealthy and influential for 2 years and then you're going to die. But if you do not want to die, you're going to have to sacrifice 5 family members. Other contracts are like, okay, since you didn't want to sacrifice your mom and your favorite child, you're going to have to sacrifice a 3-month-old baby that is born at 2 p.m. every single month. And that's when those weird NGO and philanthropy work starts, because they need to open a NGO focusing on teenage moms and stuff like that in order for them to get their sacrifices fresh off the pot.
yes, balls and liver, as in castration and black market. Yes. Yep. That's how dark this is. And we don't think that we do that in this country because they've been able to put a mask on and say, "Oh, we're Christian, we are Catholics, we are Jews, we don't believe in that kind of thing." The mask of religion is so deceptive. Now, why did I show you that? Because I want to watch the segment of Candace Owens' episode today where she talks about blood sacrifices, um, and Charlie Kirk being sacrificed, so that it makes sense to you. Because I think, some people might say, "Oh, it's a step too far." No, baby. Actually, I don't think she went far enough. I don't think she went far enough. I think knowing that this is how people conduct themselves, you can say, "Oh yeah, 100%. Every single casualty that happens in front of our faces is a sacrifice.
There are, in effect, really three major monotheistic religions in the West. So the idea that actually there are people that are in charge of Western governments that are, in essence, really pagan and could be making literal blood sacrifices to various demons, that kind of evades us. It evades our understanding of the world because we look at Hollywood, we look at culture. Hollywood in particular has been ever intentional in assisting sort of the implausibility of such a narrative, right?
Opposed to Africa, where you go to the person. So that's how they keep the mask. The mask is we ask you and then we pull you into the secret society. It's not open, it's not well known. Whereas in Africa, as this young woman was telling us, it's just open. You just go find the person down the street, you find your you're a cultist and you get wealth. But Hollywood in the United States pretends as if we are not practicing the occult. We're not practicing summoning demonic spirits for money.
Movies, books that are published, if they delve into the topic of witchcraft and spell casting, it's reserved really for the category of fantasy, right? It's fantasy if they're discussing it, or it's being mocked. Hocus Pocus or Harry Potter, really. What sort of crazy person would believe that ancient pagan practices are still happening in the real world? Okay, maybe in some remote third world village in Africa, but in the developed Western world, at the tippity top of government, you would be mad to even suggest it.
Bingo. And the young lady just told us that's where they get it from. So yes, they sacrificed Charlie.
Even when it's actually in our faces. Take, for example, this recent Paris fashion show collection from a brand known as Materier Fécal. Just so you know, that translates to fecal matter. Wow, must have really been an inspired show. Fecal matter. Wow, no, so in your face, but don't you take it the next step further and think that, these people could be into some dark stuff. That would make you, again, a crazy person. What about the much celebrated visual artist to the stars, the Serbian one? She's also an artist to the politicians. She does spirit cooking. Literally, that was what was in those emails. Marina Abramovic. She puts on performances in front of the most powerful people in the world.
And if you know anything about occult practices, blood sacrifices are often used, like animal blood sacrifices are often used. And what do we have here? What do we have here? An animal head, because that's part of the occult practices. And they mock it because someone was talking about how the demonic world works and how Satanism works. And you have to tell people that you're doing it. So you tell them in this mocking, joking tone so that they believe that you're joking, but you're actually telling them, oh, how funny. She has a goat in her hand that's, bloody. Yeah, because she sacrificed that goat. Why do all the elites find this spirit cooking to be so interesting? Because they're literally performing rituals.
Performances like in 1974, when she sought to, quote, re-evoke the energy of extreme bodily pain using a large petroleum-drenched pentagram, which the artist lit on fire at the start of the performance. Standing outside of the pentagram, Abramovic cut her nails, her toenails, and her hair. When she finished with each, she threw the clippings into the flames, creating a burst of light each time, burning the pentagram, representing a physical and mental purification.
Yes. Yes. Marina Abramovic is disgusting. And even, what's funny, because I was going through the files and I was looking at some of her spirit cooking recipes, and the way that they present them is as if they're a joke, right? But yes, Alexandra, she has done the most disgusting, horrific, bodily mutilating, bloody things. And they pretend as if it's a joke. They pretend as, oh, she's not serious. She'll throw something in there like, the head of a two-headed goat or something. So she'll throw something in there that like we perceive doesn't exist. But it's to throw us off of the scent. So we're like, oh, it's a joke. It's not a real thing. Yeah, I mean, they're absolutely demonic. And the stars, Hollywood is joining in on this. And they go to these spirit cooking rituals all the time. Lady Gaga, Jay-Z, everyone in Hollywood is engaged in this.
Oh, that's just art, guys. That's just art. Don't you think a step further? No, come on, that's just art. And on the matter of science, even when it's in our faces, like when the world's leading nuclear physicists are caught, cloaked before a statue of Shiva, stabbing a woman in an occult ceremony for CERN, well, you guys, that's just science. That right there,
If you have not seen this video, they are literally cloaked, stabbing someone. This is like someone caught this in France, I believe. I could be wrong about the location, but I did see this video circulating on the internet. I couldn't bear myself to watch it. So she doesn't play the whole thing either. But yes, they were literally stabbing someone in front of a statue. Like, if you think that these people are not worshiping Baal and who are not worshiping demonic spirits, you're horrifically wrong. They have sold their souls, like the woman in the video told us. They have sold their souls for money. They are required to perform living sacrifices to their gods to maintain their wealth and power.
You are looking at on your screens was science, the best science, the best that science has to offer, the most ingenious people. And indeed, I would agree that it's modern science. In fact, the entire thrust of what was deemed the scientific revolution, a move away from the natural order of things and towards empiricism, rationality, that began because of a long organized Freemasonic effort to remove humanity from our innate spiritual understanding. Okay. They wanted you to know that you can now ignore your God-given instincts. You can set aside your subconscious, that subconscious that comes online and lets you know that something is not right. Yeah, you can just set that aside and trust the experts instead. In fact, the experts constantly reinforce to us that our subconscious is wrong, or it's just weird. And in some cases, it's immoral, it's devilish even. You want to go see your grandmother while she's dying in the middle of COVID? What are you, Satan? You're being guided by Satan. If you don't listen to Dr. Fauci, that's who you're being guided by, because there's no greater source of authority in their world than the government, which they control. That's the idea. And I promise you on everything, like on everything, that when Savannah, my manager, came down the stairs and delivered the news that Charlie had been shot, I went into my husband's office and I cried, and I immediately said to him, he was betrayed. Charlie was betrayed. And my husband said back to me, you don't know that. We don't know anything yet. And I said, I know. Now, empirically, that argument fails. I get it. But no one can explain why or how I had the sense of dread in the very week leading up to Charlie's assassination. No one can offer why I knew that there was danger coming specifically to a school, and why I felt that it was related to bees, why the feeling was so overwhelming that I hired extra security and took my podcast off air and pulled my children out of school. I had never experienced a dread like that in my life, ever. No one also can explain or even offer an explanation as to how exactly it is that Charlie knew he was going to die young, and that his death would specifically be related to Turning Point USA. He said he knew from the moment he signed on the dotted line.
And do you know why? This is the part I wanted to get to. Sorry, that took a long time for us to get there. But Charlie also had the same sense that Candace had, which is when you start accepting large amounts of money, like inordinate amounts of money, you are putting your soul on the line. Charlie knew that. He knew that. And I think he knew to a degree that he had in essence signed a deal with the devil by getting involved in politics and accepting that kind of money. I think Charlie knew. I really firmly believe that he knew, and he knew that he was going to die because he knew he was going to have to go against what they were asking him to do. Charlie had seen too much at that point. He already knew, I think maybe a couple of years into signing on that dotted line, he said, you know what, I made a mistake and it's too late now. If I try and back out of this thing, they're going to kill me. So many of these celebrities are pro-choice late-term abortions. Yeah, it's exactly what it is, because you can't, like, the 8-week, 6-week abortions don't count. They need like a full-on baby. They need the baby basically delivered and then, taken out of here, sent back to their maker in order for it to match. Yes, and they absolutely send their babies back to Moloch. 100%. Candace Owens. Yeah, she be knowing. Candace be knowing. And I think Charlie knew too. And I firmly believe that he realized nobody in this organization actually has my back. They're all interested in money. I believe they're all lying about the amount of times that Charlie called them. I firmly believe that.
That he was going to die young. What exactly is the expert explanation for that deep internal knowing that he had that has now been proven correct? I'll tell you, there isn't one. There isn't one. What Charlie sensed was obviously right. And the moment that Charlie was shot, I knew what happened to him was not random. Okay. He was betrayed. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the war in Iran. I'm certain of that. And it's deeper than that. I am now of the opinion that he was likely sacrificed. And I want to tell you why I got there. You guys know, if you're part of my book club, I've been doing a lot of research into Freemasonry. About a month ago, while we took a break to prepare for our Bride of Charlie series, someone sent me this. I'm showing you, this is what they sent me in the mail. Something that is known as a Freemason Bible. Now, I knew that these existed because of my studying Sigmund Freud and looking into the...
By the way, Erica Kirk, for the longest time, wore a Mason necklace that was her grandfather's. I'm just saying. She stopped wearing it because I think someone called her out on it. But it was like a Mason star of some sort that she used to wear. If you go back and look at her old videos, she used to wear that. So to keep that in mind as we listen to this part of the video.
Fact that he had inherited one from his father. The backstory of this one in particular came with a handwritten letter, is that a 33rd degree Freemason out in Oklahoma died, and all of his belongings were left in a home that was eventually auctioned off. And the person who had this in his possession, his relative was the person who acquired the home. And they went in and they burned everything in it effectively, thinking that it was obviously just carrying bad spirits. But he, for some reason, had the sense that he should keep this one item. For no particular reason, he kept it in the back of his truck for over a decade. And when he saw me covering the history of Freemasonry and what they believe, trying to discern what it is that they believe, he felt that this was the reason that he had kept it all those years. So he just sent it to me to provide me further insight into what they believe and what they practice at the top of Freemasonry. This is not your granddad's Freemason lodge, okay? Oh, my dad was a lodge. It was just no, this is not that. That is not what 33rd degree Freemasonry is. So I flipped through this immediately after we did douse it in holy water. I flipped through it.
Okay, and by the way, you guys, so I live in a town I live in an area where there are several Mason lodges, right? Like I've been in churches that were in, Mason lodges or whatever. So it's really not like like she said, it's not your average like Mason. Although if someone's involved in that, they can take it all the way to the next level. It's not your average like Freemason group, because they have those lodges all over the place, and they usually rent out the homes. They have their meetings there. They're usually about like work and community service, all that other stuff, right? But once you get past a certain level, it's kind of like the Epsteins versus like your average, Jewish family across the street, right? It's like there's levels to this. Like your average Mason is not going to be involved in this, but once you get into the higher levels, it becomes demonic.
And within the very first pages, there was a pentagram with various illustrations inside of it, notes around it. I'm going to show you that now. We just took a picture for you to see it there at the bottom. And in case you can't see what is pointing to the middle, it says place of sacrifice or worship. Okay? Place of sacrifice or worship in the middle there. So I want you to note that in this Freemason Bible, it illustrates that a sacrifice must be made in the center of a pentagon. That's a Pentagon.
Okay. Do you guys remember in the video that I just shared with you how specific the sacrifices are? How specific you have to, sacrifice a baby born in the 3rd month at 2 p.m. It's all like this. And I have another video to show you. Don't worry. I've got another video to sort of round this all out. It's not just politicians. It's not just music industry. It's also NBA players, right? They're all engaged in some kind of sacrifice in order to be wealthy. But notice, I want you to note how specific this is. You need the balls of 3 goats, the liver of a young girl, and you need, it needs to happen in the hair of a blonde woman. Like that, it's very specific. Someone must be sacrificed in the middle of a pentagon. Now, what she shows us is crazy.
5 sides, like a house. And I thought, how curious that Charlie was indeed seated in the center of a pentagon when he was killed. Let me demonstrate that for you.
Okay, so this is where Charlie was murdered. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And he was seated there.
You can see that right there.
Yep.
Again, it was my independent study into Sigmund Freud that led me to learning about B'nai B'rith, the Jewish Freemason group, whom I believe have been running our country since at least the Civil War. I've done my best to consume and learn about what it is that they believe, what they practice. This is occult mysticism, okay? The satanic panic that happened was real. Children are being harmed. They have been harmed in occult ceremonies for a very long time. This is an ancient practice. And this is not to be confused with Judaism in any way. In fact, they rely on you confusing it. In no shape or form does this have anything to do with any of the monotheistic religions.
And to be clear, a lot of Masons will cover, again, cloak themselves in the language of Christianity. I know a lot of Christians or so-called Christians who think, who are Masons, who think that they're Christians. So yes, it is very common to cover yourself, and this is why I think that, oh my gosh, this is so bad to say, but I think that that's why Erica Kirk could shapeshift so much, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever gets the job done. Whatever gets the job done. I need to be Catholic today, Protestant tomorrow. Sure. Whatever gets the job done.
Okay. Judaism is merely a mask that these pagan occultists wear, just like Christianity is one of the masks that they wear. The Star of David, as they term it, is in fact an occult symbol meant to represent King Solomon's ring. There is no way that you can avoid this. There's no way that they can try to rewrite history. It is quite literally known as the Seal of Solomon. I'm going to show you this. This is on Wikipedia. This is that accessible. We can read parts of this together. It reads, "It is often depicted in the shape of either a hexagram or a pentagram. In mystic Jewish lore, the ring is variously described as having been given to Solomon, having given Solomon, the power to command the supernatural. Due to the proverbial wisdom of Solomon, it came to be seen as an amulet or a talisman or a symbol or character in medieval magic and Renaissance magic, occultism, alchemy." Ladies and gentlemen, this is literal witchcraft. We cannot beat these people, and we cannot win if we refuse to even recognize what it is that we are up against. We have to recognize what it is and who it is that we are up against. And again, it has nothing to do with Christianity. It's got nothing to do with Judaism. That is why, as is further stipulated on this Wikipedia page, the Seal of Solomon was once featured on the flag of Nigeria and the flag of Morocco. Those are not known to be Jewish countries. Freemasons worship Solomon as the master architect. They believe that he gave them the keys to build and therefore control societies. This is how you build a matrix, in effect, right?
Okay, we're going to stop it there. And I'm going to show you another video. So I was actually on my way. So I was going to do a separate video on I was going to do a separate video on LeBron James because I firmly believe that the Black Boule and the Freemasons have gotten a hold of him, and that the reason why he's outright saying I just want to live like he really wants to retire. He's kind of done, but he's actually I believe that he is about to sacrifice someone as well. And so I want you guys to watch this TikTok where a man explained how this works. So this is how you're controlling society. So they're not only controlling just like the wealthy, the powerful, the politicians, but they're also controlling our athletes.
On James.
Hold on, let me read some of y'all's comments. Hardcore Freemasonry. Yep. Hysterica Kirk is fitting right now. She's actually throwing a fit. You guys know she like changed all of her LinkedIn's because Baron Coleman and Candace Owens called her out on her lies on her education history. Like, it's like, who told you to do that? That it's just lurking Lori set you up for failure. Yeah, it's very chilling. It's so messy. But wait, listen to this. Listen to what they say about LeBron James.
LeBron James? Let me tell you something about LeBron. We're talking about Antarctica to sell the fallen angels. No other team in the NBA wants him. His time is up. I can't wait to see these shorts. His time is up. No team wants him. He's got one more year. And when he retires, his number will be called to either him, his wife, his daughter, or one of his sons. Somebody has to be sacrificed because we allowed you, LeBron, to pass Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm telling you how these deep state devils think. They want blood.
Did you guys hear that? Your mama, your son, your daddy, your wife. This is how they think. And people will pass this off as like sort of like conspiracy. But this is, yes, Alexandra, this is truly a spiritual battle. And listen, we're not talking about your average, like, someone who makes $5-10 million a year, right? And that's not average, like, but you know what I mean? It's not someone who makes like 5 or 10 million. We're talking about people who make hundreds of millions of dollars in order to let you into that world, because so much secrecy. You have too much, whenever you have that much money, you have too much power. And so they almost have to let you into their world. But the only way they let you into their world is by holding something over your head. Otherwise, they'll just take you out. They'll just say, okay, we'll kill you because you better get involved with what we have going on, just like they did with Charlie Kirk. So yes, it is highly demonic.
Okay, we gave you what you want. You're the greatest scorer in NBA history. We need someone to be liquidated. His number will be called. And you got a lot of listeners. Oh, you're saying he's going to die? I'm not saying he's going to die like Kobe.
Something's about to come up.
Be called. You see, anyone on that land, especially the rappers. We talked about this the first time I was on your power show. To go higher into the rap industry, you have to be butt broken, like you said, in humiliation. Okay, and so they're butt broken. That's the system.
No, he doesn't have to do it to well, typically, well, they do all kinds of nasty things behind the scenes, but typically what works is you choose someone to sacrifice. So typically people will choose their children because they don't want to choose their spouse. That's just straight up. Whenever people's children die, just know, and they become like super wealthy afterwards, just know that that's a potential reason as to why. You talk about being butt broken, that's figurative and literal. You saw the Epstein files. You heard that boy talk about Donald Trump and that rod. Yeah, Donald Trump was butt broken too. Okay, let me stop.
And if you don't want to give in, they're trying to destroy you. But LeBron James, so let me say this, and I'm going to end it here today. LeBron James' days are numbered. His days are numbered.
Yeah. So That guy is Bishop Larry Gators. He talks a lot about this sort of thing. He talks about Kobe Bryant. So it's not, and I wanted to show you that because it's not just Charlie Kirk. It's not just politicians. It's anybody who has obscene amounts of money. And you see, you guys, quiet as is kept. That's why they wanted to take control of Candace. You see what I'm saying? That's why they wanted to take control of Candace, because she, even right now, Candace has more power and influence, and she is not bought and paid for. Same thing with Tucker Carlson. When they were working for Fox News and TPUSA and Daily Wire, they were under that control. But you see, they showed their hand. So they showed us what they do to people like Charlie or Candace or Tucker when they get out of hand. They can't do two in a row. So they have to wait. But that's why they're trying to cancel Candace and Tucker, because you're not supposed to have power unless they've given you power. And historically, that's how it works. So the problem is they created this internet and they did not anticipate the level of autonomy that people would have and independence and the level of free thinking that it would produce. So now they're struggling. Okay. So that's that on that. Now, shall we get into Miss Erica Kirk? Let's see. Let me see. So I've been sitting on this for a while. I have no business sitting on it, but I've been sitting on it for a while. And it's this long interview with Erica Kirk talking about, I played a little bit of it last week, but it's a long interview with her talking about how she met Charlie. And as we know, she was with Candace. Charlie was with Candace at the airport. And I want you to listen to how she describes her meeting with Charlie at the airport.
Today we officially open the United States Embassy in Jerusalem, the capital the Jewish people established in ancient times. Congratulations.
Okay, hold on. Let me show you guys.
Times.
There's Candace. There's Charlie. You guys see that? You see Candace and Charlie in the middle of your screen? So this is the year that Candace and Charlie were in Jerusalem, and Erica happened to be there as well. Okay? Got a long interview coming, or some of it.
It was a while ago. I can't even keep track of dates anymore with babies and anniversary dates and everything else in between. So
okay, hold on. She about to lie. You guys ready? Get your lying pens out. Get your little notepads out. So she just said, I can't remember dates and everything with babies. Okay, hold on. And then listen to what she says.
anyways, so we had met through a family friend. He had invited me to the office opening for Turning Point USA, which I know several of you guys are supporters of, so thank you for all of your support for Turning Point USA. And so I went to the office opening, and he was like, you need to meet the CEO, and I was like, okay, great. I don't know. I was not familiar with that world at all. But the interesting point is that year, that was in August. In May, I had taken a pilgrimage with my mom to Israel. And my whole intention of that trip was to find my future husband. If there was a hole in a rock anywhere to put a prayer, and those of you who've been to Israel, you know that the Wailing Wall, all the different places you can stick a prayer on a little piece of paper, that was me. Like, had a piece of paper everywhere, little put in prayer, God heard me, answered. So that was my whole thing. So after that, it was our last day on that trip, and there was this most precious server that was there, and he looked at me at the end of the trip, and I was saying goodbye, and he was like, I'll see you again soon. He's like, I'll see you here in about 1.5 years from now with your husband. And I was like, oh.
How much you want to bet that never happened? I just can't tell if she's lying. Or did she? Okay, that Dennis, the stalking of Charlie Kirk. But wait a minute, though. Did he say that because you told him you were here to find a husband? Or did you say like the way that she's telling this story is as if he like brought that out of thin air, as if it was like some divine intervention. Babe, what I'm sensing is that you told him that's why you were there, and then he said that in response. But the deceptiveness of it all, you know?
Oh,
I haven't heard this part of the story.
I know, because I usually give this. I feel like I need to give Okay. So we're giving like the real. And so I usually don't tell this part because it's very intimate, but I feel like I should. Bloom where you're planted, right? Okay. So he said that to me. I carry that in my heart. I timestamp things in my phone when someone says something or I overhear something. I use my notes all the time, and I like to look back to see what time that was, what year that was.
Okay, so you forget dates and times, but you timestamp everything in your phone. You're lying.
Save all that. Anyway, so I have it in my phone. And thrown off by it, held it in my heart, didn't think anything of it. Then I went to go to the ticket line to leave. I was with my mom. There's only a few flights out at the night in Israel back to the States. And so I was standing there at the ticket line, and there was a guy who was checking out with the guy, you know what I'm talking about, get your ticket, check your bag. And I see him and I was like, huh. I tell my mom, I was like, that guy looks really familiar. And my mom's like, go say hi. Those of you who know my mom, like that's something go say hi and say hi to him. I'm like, oh my gosh.
The stalking of Charlie Kirk is 100% correct. You went to the airport knowing that man was going to be there. Your mom said, oh, that's the one. He's going to be wealthy. Tyler Boyer said, yeah, Charlie's going to be the biggest. He and Erica should get together. He's going to be the biggest thing since sliced bread politically. And she said, oh, go say hi. Go, 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 go.
No, I don't know. I just looks familiar. And so anyways, fast forward from May to August. I'm standing in the office, and our family friend was like, you need to meet.
Wait a minute. Did she skip the part where she actually said hi? Because she, if I'm not mistaken, she did actually go up to them and say hi. And she did leave out the part that Candace was with him. That maybe Candace is like she who shall not be named. Like you guys know how that goes. She who should not be named. Like you can't mention her name because she's like the spawn of Satan or something. I could see why she wouldn't say Candace's name, to be honest, because yes, she's sort of off the table.
Meet the owner, blah blah blah, and he turns around and was like, "Oh, hi, you're the guy from the ticket line." Oh. It was so coy that I was like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, I have to get back to New York, so I'll see you again soon, I think. And so he had discussed, the mutual family friend worked for Charlie, and they were trying to get me to do like a faith component within Turning Point USA. And I would say 2.5 weeks later, I'm in the Hamptons with one of my uncles. And
okay. So is that why Bible and 365 started? Because they were trying to do a faith component? Is that why that happened? I'm just curious. Now that we're putting all the pieces together, because remember, she didn't, because after their meeting, she created her LLC. So that's just an interesting little tidbit there. Unbelievable hubris. Yes. Yes.
I get a random DM on Instagram, and you never know, like, if these people are the real people or whatever. Anyway, so it was Charlie. It was in my DMs, and he was like, hey, I'm in New York. I want to sit down and talk to you about the faith stuff. I have a Fox hit, total, like, name drop. I have a Fox hit to do.
Wait a minute. Is this a different story than we've been told publicly? Is anybody else getting that sense? He sent her a DM. I thought that Tyler Boyer was like, oh, it's a job interview. This doesn't sound like a job interview. This sounds like you've already had the job and we're going to talk about it. Like, what? This does not sound in alignment with what she's been telling the public, at least.
Out in the city, and then I need to meet with you afterwards, so it's going to be really late. And I was like, it's fine. So he chooses a place, Bill's Burgers. Never been there before in the city, and I've lived there for like 6 years. I'm like, where in the world are we going? Burgers. So we sit down, we have burgers. He grills me for 3.5 hours on, thank God the restaurant was open late because we were there for a very long time. Philosophy, politics, anything you can imagine that Charlie loves to talk about, which is a lot of stuff. It was just like go time. It was like college campus Charlie, but like in between French fries. And so we're just going at it in a good way. And so we were going back and forth, and he was done, and he just like wiped his mouth, put his napkin down. He looked at me and he was like, well, I'm not going to hire you. And I was like, well, I didn't really need the job, but I was here because you had asked me to be here. But he was like, I'm going to date you. And I was like, you don't want to?
Oh, it worked. It worked. It worked. I'm going to be president of the United States someday. Ugh.
Just be friends? He's like, no, I have enough friends in my life. And I was like, so do I have time to think about it? He's like, yeah, until tomorrow night when I take you out to dinner. And I was like, oh. So I call my mom on the walk home because my mom is my best friend. She's my world. And I call her and I was like, so she goes, how was it? How did it go? And I was like, okay, well, first of all, it was the guy that I saw in Israel at the ticket line. So let's just get that straight. So that was just a total God thing. Second, he asked to date me, not to hire me. And I need to walk home right now so I can process what just happened. Because I have a date tomorrow night and I have, anyways, long story short, that was that. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Erica Franzwe Lombardi Netanyahu Kirk. Okay? Just a different story every single time. That's all I wanted to show you. It's just another different story of how things happened. And I just can't figure out what to make of her. What is so disgusting is how people think Tyler, Mikey McCoy, etc., think that she's going to be president of the United States. God forbid. God forbid it. You allegedly stalked him in an airport, and then your friend got you a job with him, really to set you up with him so that you guys could all be wealthy together. That's what happened. This is all cute and everything, but that's really what happened. Anyway, you guys, that's it for tonight's video. I got to go and relax. Thank you guys. Was a family friend Tyler Boyer? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Oh, I met him at a Trump rally. Remember that? Oh, I met him at a Trump rally. I think. He's a family friend now? Like, no, you've known him since, you guys are play cousins, as we say. You guys have known each other for a very long time. Charlie didn't know that, though. Charlie had no idea. In fact, Candace said at the end of one of her podcasts that she said Charlie had no idea who she was. No idea. He was just drunk in love, which people tend to be. Drunk in love, not knowing that the person that you're married to is an absolute liar and a fraud. He had no idea she lied about her degrees and no clue. He was too busy building, as she says, not worrying about his conniving, slippery wife. Anyway, that's it for today's video. You guys, please like this video on your way out. And hopefully I will see you guys tomorrow morning.